what God has joined together is what makes marriage. Those whom God has joined together. This servant had come to the very beginning of, at last, this is flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone. He had come to the very beginning of what God said, I will make for him a helper fit for him. So this man was praying according to the will of God. That the one you have appointed, that's the one it must be. He prayed in line with what James said. He prayed correctly. Not selfishly. He wasn't interested in a beautiful woman. He wasn't interested in a woman of culture, of finesse. He was interested in a woman that thou hast appointed for thy servant Isaac. And he had no way of knowing. It is God himself who knows who she had appointed. And that's what you should pray on, or whoever is praying for you. Let it be the man you have appointed for me. Let her be the woman you have appointed for me. Let him be the man you have appointed for my daughter. Let her be the woman you have appointed for my son. Don't be afraid to ask for signs. This servant who asked was a human being like you and I. And God answered him because his heart was right. So you let your heart be right now. Rise above the veil that separates you from God. With the wings of faith and in the power of the Holy Spirit, whatever you ask tonight, he will do. Did God answer? Of course he did. How long did it take God to answer? Verse 15 has the clue. It says, before he had done speaking. How long is that? Immediately. Before he had done speaking. Behold, Rebekah, who was born to Bethuel, the son of Milcah, the wife of Nahor, Abraham's brother, came out with her water jar upon her shoulder. The maiden was very fair to look upon. Look at the qualifications. She was a daughter of Bethuel, who was son of Milcah, the wife of Nahor, Abraham's brother. Why her? The servant did not know who she was. It was not written on her face. I will tell you why later. The second qualification, she was a virgin. Must be a virgin. She was a virgin. Because she will carry the promise of God for generations to come. She could not have been defiled. A virgin whom no man had known. That whom no man had known tells me something. That even at that time they were promiscuous. It was common, like now, for young women to be defiled before they were married. But she was one of the few that kept herself. It is possible for you also today to keep yourself. She went down to the spring and filled her jar and came up. Please note that. She went down to the stream, filled her jar, and came up. The servant saw her when she was coming. He did not approach her. Why not? Because for him to have approached her would have been totally wrong. What he said to God was that I will say to the woman, Let down your jar that I may drink. In other words, that woman should have filled the jar with water, not when she was going to fill. Do you understand? She should have gone to the tap, filled the jar with water, carried the water on her head or on her back, as the case was. And it was oncoming that I will ask her for the water. So there was no point. He's talking to her before going to take the water. Because if he had done, he would have had to say, please go and get me water from that place. And that would have broken the whole prayer contract. So think carefully before you talk to God. And when you have spoken to God, know exactly what you have said to God, and don't go and contravene it yourself. The divine contract with God called covenant should not and cannot be broken. So, he waited. And the Bible said she went down to the spring and filled her jar and came up. Verse 17, then the servant ran to meet her and said, he kept to the line. Before she could escape, he ran. He wasn't sluggish. He did not delay. Are you prepared to run to meet what you have contracted God that you will do? Or would you stay on the same spot and be procrastinating? By which time, the goodness will have escaped you. Don't stay on the same spot. Once you see the signs, you run to say what you said you will say, or to do what you said you will do, and look carefully to receive the result, whether it is or not, from how you told God it will be. I'll tell you something. If you say to God, let's say you are looking for a wife, and you say to God, Lord, if I meet a woman, I will say so to her. Write down what you say you will say to her. Write it down carefully. Formulate it and write it down carefully. And then what the woman should reply, write it down carefully. Put it in an envelope. Seal it. Put it in your pocket wherever you go. So if you meet a woman and you feel led in your mind to say so to her, if you say it exactly to her, when she replies, compare that reply with what you have sealed. Hear it again. What she says, write it down. When you have written it down, then open the envelope, compare the two. So that you will not be able to cheat. Because I know what you are, I know what you are, I know who you are. Once you get interested in somebody, you will modify what the person has said to suit. You will crush what he has said to fit into what you think she has said. The servant ran to meet her and said, verse 17, pray, give me a little water to drink from your jar. And she said, drink. You see, that's the first password. Give me a little drink. All right. She could have poured it, give to him, or say something else. But the first word was what he said she should say. Drink. Even though she added, my Lord, that is a sign of respect. Just like you say, drink, sir. But the operative word is what? Drink. And she quickly laid down her jar upon her hand and gave him a drink. So she did not only say it, she did it. Verse 21 says, the man gazed at her in silence to learn whether the Lord has prospered his journey or not. That verse is appropriate at the end of verse 18. She gave him the drink. So the man took the drink and drank. At that point, the next logical thing is that he was silent, still expecting the rest of the sign. Do you understand what I'm saying? And then, verse 19 should now follow that, saying, when she had finished giving him a drink, she said, I will draw for your camels also until they have done drinking. So, with that, she has said what? What The servant said, God should make her to say. Okay? Then verse 20 would then come. So she quickly emptied her jar into the trough and ran again to the well to draw. And she drew for all his camels. That tells me that she was going on 2 or 3 trips. Probably the container was not big enough, so she would go and draw. And all that time, Mr. Servant was silent and waiting, because he had to have given all the camels water. Verse 22 now should now come on. Then when the camels had done drinking, the man took a gold ring weighing a half shekel and 2 bracelets for her arms weighing 10 gold shekels, and said, tell me whose daughter you are. Is there room in your father's house for us to lodge in? Oh, she said to him, oh, yes. I'm the daughter of Bethel, the son of Milcah, whom she bore to Nahor. And she added, verse 25, we have both straw and provender enough, and room to lodge in. Do you understand? Even after she had fulfilled that, there was still the last obstacle. The woman had fulfilled all the conditions that the servant asked God. But there was another important condition that she had to fulfill. And that is, whose daughter are you? You must be daughter of a proper person from a proper place. And when she now disclosed her identity, all the conditions, all the signs are fulfilled. Then the man fell on his face and worshiped God and thanked God. Verse 26, the man bowed his head and worshiped God. That is, thanked God. And said to God, blessed be the Lord, the God of my master Abraham, who has not forsaken his steadfast love and his faithfulness toward my master. You see? What humility. This servant was not claiming the credit. This servant did not presume that God answered him because of himself, but because of his master. I wish to God that if I send those of you here anywhere, you will have the humility to be like that servant has been, to always remember who sent you, to give the credit to whoever sent you. Anywhere Jesus sends me, I give the credit back to him. We have been taught that from the beginning of my advent into Christ Apostolic Church. Our spiritual fathers, if you say to them, well done, sir, they will direct it back to you. They say, the well done belongs to God. The well done belongs to God. Put in another way, if you say, well done for doing God's work, they will say to you, the well done belongs to God, because it is the Lord God doing his work, not me. And that's exactly the humility of this servant. And you will see soon, when he now got to the prospective father-in-law, it was my master, my master, my master, my master. So, he was thanking God. Then he mentioned himself. He said, as for me, the Lord has led me in the way to the house of my master's kinsman. You have been wonderful to my master. And for me, you've led me in the way. That's what we should be able to say every time in the work God has given to us. To remember Jesus all the time as our master. God, thank you for honoring Jesus and doing A, B, C, D. But as for me, small fish, Thank you for leading me in the ancient paths, in the way. And learn a lesson from Rebecca herself. Rebecca was not only respectful to the stranger, sir, my lord. Some of you youngsters today, you cannot even say sir to those who are older than you, or ma. Some of you are rude. Because you are in Britain, or because you are British, does not mean you should be rude. Rudeness is not a virtue. The Americans are far better in the day-to-day transaction of business in America. Even if you take a phone here and you phone them, you'll be hearing them saying, sir, 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 sir. It used to be so in Britain, but mannerlessness has cropped in. Everybody is anybody's equal. Let's go back to respecting elders. There's nothing wrong in saying, sir, to those who are older than you. Yes, madam, to the women who are older than you or in higher position. Humility will raise your status. It will not demean it. So this Rebecca showed respect to this stranger. Even though he was a servant, dressed like a servant, she still called him my Lord. And he was a stranger. She extended hospitality without even consulting her parents, because she had been taught not to be selfish, to welcome everybody. In these days and age, the youth are so selfish, only themselves. That's why most of their parents and their relatives are in old people's home. They are too tight. They don't want anybody around them. Me and my partner, my husband and I. You don't understand. There are so many things your brothers, your sisters, your parents can do for you that your husband or your wife can never do. And when the going gets tough, those are the people who will make life bearable for you. But when you ostracize them because of your new partner or your husband or whatever, the day you need them, it will be like what Jesus said. If you are ashamed of me before men, I'll be ashamed of you before my Father who is in heaven. If because of your husband or your new wife, you are ashamed of your parents or your brothers and you keep them at arm's length, the day that man kicks you in the face, your people will say they don't know you. Remember, Jesus said, before Abraham was, I am. In the same way, before your boyfriend that became your husband, or before your girlfriend that became your wife came into your life, your father had always been and will always be. Your mother had always been and will always be. Even when they die, they won't leave you. All right. So take that respect. And she took this man home. She had no intention at all that she was a prospective bride. Because, again, look at the discretion. Look at the discretion of the servant. He did not tell her. Because he was not the husband, he was not to propose to her. She had parents. It is the parents he should tell, not her. He was made welcome. And when they set food before him to eat and rest, he said, no, I'm not eating. I came here on a mission. Let me deliver my mission first before I eat. In times like this, some of you will eat first and sleep. And you will forget the mission for days. The following morning, they will take you out on sightseeing of Paris. You go sightseeing, take photographs. It is the day before the day you are going that, by the way, what I came for. Business is business. Business is what? Is business. And even after he has told his story, he made it clear to the father of Rebekah in verse 49. He said to the father of Rebekah, after he has told his story, he said, now then, if you will deal loyally and truly with my master, tell me, and if not, tell me, that I may turn to the right or to the left, I'll go. He never forgot the mission that he came to accomplish. He did not come there to eat and to be entertained. He told his story. I want a reply. If it is yes, good. If it is not, I'm going. Now, what was his story? Verse 34. See the way he introduced himself. I am Abraham's servant. Some of you will have said, I'm Abraham's colleague. He's my senior pastor. In fact, I do most of the things that he does. There is nothing Abraham does. Look, ask him. I'm the one that is doing it. The old man is too old to do anything. You want to see Abraham? It's me. He didn't say that. He knew his position. I am Abraham's servant. Then he went on. The Lord has greatly blessed my master, and he has become great. He sang the praises of his master. Then he told him in verse 37, my master made me swear, saying, you shall not take a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites in whose land I dwell. But, verse 38, you shall go to my father's house and to my kindred and take a wife for my son. The man listened. He listened. That's exactly what Abraham told him. Go back to verses 3 and 4. Verse 4. But we'll go to my country and to my kindred and take a wife for my son. My kindred. In other words, God must have revealed to Abraham that Isaac must marry somebody from his own family. Kinsman, kindred, his family. And as the case was, as it turned out to be, Rebekah was who? The daughter of his brother, Nahor. Are you understanding? But the servant didn't know that. But the woman he now met that he prayed for, God now brought that particular person from that particular family to him by the well. She was the first that came. God kept all the other confusing women at home. And so when it will come to your turn to meet your right man or right woman, God will keep all the confusing contenders at home. Right from the family, right from the town, right from the family that God intended. Don't you see this mighty God? He has planned everything. That's why go to the ancient parts. Just stand by the roads and ask God, where is the path to who I will marry or to who will marry me? Where the good way is, the good way to God's kingdom, the good way to happy married life. Then when He tells you, walk in it. But you see, you see how God plans. And you cannot know where He has hidden things unless you ask Him for the way. And it is the same way that our people walked, that you must walk. You will meet the same God at the end of the same road. If only you can rely on what this man relied on. He said in verse 39, I said to my master, perhaps the woman will not follow me. But he said to me, verse 40, the Lord, before whom I walk, will send His angel with you and prosper your way. The the Lord will send his angel with you and prosper your way. And you shall take a wife for my son, from my kindred, and from my father's house. And it was like that. Let me just close by telling you tonight that the Lord before whom I walk will send his angel with you. And you shall get a wife or a husband from where he had predestined you to get one. In Jesus' name.